episode number 106, Google Drive, or else. Recorded live Sunday, September 15th. Live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief over at iTechGear.org. And today we are also missing the dulcet tones. Mr. Gavula is out globe-trotting, literally globe-trotting out there. Somewhere.
Trotting.
World, visiting friends. So there you go. But we have a couple of the usual suspects here with us. We've got the former contributing writer from Gear Diary and currently the host over at the Linux Link Tech Show and living in the Retro Arcade podcast, Brother Joe McLaughlin. How are you?
I'm doing just ducky. It was a good weekend, with the exception of this stupid phone going off. But that's what IT workers have to do.
That's what you signed up for there, bud. So
yeah, I know. But I'm doing great. Got some good exercise this weekend, and just anxious to get rolling.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to be very, very excited to hear what you've got in the mobile Linux segment. So we'll wait for that. Also joining us this week, the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications, and of course, along with Brother Joe McLaughlin, editor over here at iTechGear.org, Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
I am fine. I'm all excited. I am the proud recipient today of a pair of the new Google Nest thermostats, the Matter version.
Nice.
The newest one. I tell you what, they're really slick looking. As soon as I get them hooked up in the new house, get them working, get them on both Apple Home and Google Home through the Matter connection as opposed to the hard old style, I will put them on a pick and we'll talk more about them. But
awesome.
Other than that, just living the good old semi-retired dream.
Sweet. Speaking of living the sweet old retirement dream, for those of us that may have a bit of a hearing loss, from what I understand, some of the information that's out there already is that the hearing aid functionality in the AirPods Pro 2 is actually better than stuff that you could get over the counter, OTC.
That's what I'm reading. Initially, they didn't say it was better than the OTC, but subsequent articles now pit it against the OTC as better. And this sort of excites me because ego doesn't bother me. I don't have one, I don't think, but I mean, if I have to wear a couple of white things sticking out of my ear all day long to hear better, if they cost what they cost, it's a whole lot better than spending $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000 for the best hearing aids out there.
Sure,
and I do. I'm along with you. I think my hearing's probably worse. I definitely need to be in a hearing aid. I just don't want the hassle. But I think this would fill the bill because I keep these in my ear nearly all day anyway. And not try you. I'm going to try them. But when Apple issues this firmware upgrade coming up that's needed to use the AirPods Pro 2 as a hearing aid,
right?
It will put the company in direct competition with all of the over-the-counter products.
Absolutely.
Most OTCs that I've looked into offer Bluetooth headphone functionality. So you've got a single device that can serve both functions either way. The AirPod will offer significant advantages when you start using it as an earphone. So
yeah,
both they and the OTC hearing aids will give you a hearing profile that's designed to address your specific needs. You can tune the frequencies just like you can the OTC. Sure. And we've read this story first in Wired, and they say that this will put Apple in a very highly unusual position where a company that normally charges premium prices compared to its competitors. But now, if you go look at CVS or Walgreens, you're going to pay $300-400 for any
their
of the
OTC hearing aid
stuff.
devices,
Right.
right?
Well,
Apple's got
that's
a
where you,
beautiful headset device for
as
$250.
somebody who's just bought one of those OTC things, my son has one,
Right.
because he's has some hearing loss. Don't go to those pharmacies to buy those things. Just go to Amazon. You can find one. We got his for $150, and he's
Okay.
very happy with it. Not to mention the fact it also operates as Bluetooth headphones. For
And
his
that's to be, expected. Amazon's always going to have something just as
Yep.
good or less. But if you actually look at the over the counter without Amazon, they're over 300, all of them. So
Well, there's a
you
lot of
do
them
have,
that are. I mean, the higher quality ones are.
yeah.
Like Jabra has is a very highly rated one. Trying to remember who some of the other ones are, but a lot of them are trying to be. They're not trying to be the lowest priced on the market. They're trying to beat
right.
the ones you need to go to an audiologist for.
Right. And those can cost anywhere between 2.5 to $5,000-6,000.
My dad has miracle ears, and they cost him $3,000.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean they're
So-
very, very pricey. I bought a pair of
Yep.
Eargos back in 2019, and
That's the other OTC one, yeah.
and they're somewhere in between an OTC and the audiologist kind, because they were $2,500,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're probably one of the bigger mistakes that I've made in trying to chase after an improvement for my hearing. If I had to do it again, I would not go anywhere near them.
Right.
We won't
Only
know
because
until
not because of the stigma of wearing a hearing aid, because these are in the ear canal, and they fit very nicely. The issue with them is that their app that allows you to control the devices only has 3 presets, and you can only use one of those 3. I can't control
So
the
one's too
volume on
loud,
the
one's not
microphone.
loud enough.
Right.
Right.
I
It's either-
was about to mention, if anything, Apple will be the company who puts this in a beautiful app or a beautiful
Mhm.
UI in your iPhone
Exactly.
and lets you tweak
May
the
even
hell
have,
out of it.
I would say, may even have a way, and that's one thing the OTC ones probably don't have, is the ability to tweak how well it hears certain frequencies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
So, like, for example, if you don't have a problem with the higher pitched things, but you do have a problem with lower pitched things, it's just going to amplify everything. So that may be a negative for some people, and I don't think Apple's going to go that direction from the sounds of this, because they're going through the FDA approval process,
Exactly.
and have passed through that process.
Right.
Then they're looking at this more from the clinical perspective.
Yes,
Now,
but they're not going to stick an audiologist in between you and the app.
True.
All right, to
Mhm.
prevent you from adjusting the volume on your own.
Mhm.
I've got to go through one of their hearing specialists in order to, get the right set of
Yep.
That's why you're paying $8,000 for the hearing. It's
Mhm.
for the audiologist to put his son through an Ivy League school,
Among other
I
things,
hear
yeah.
among
you.
other things.
I hear you on these, and it's one of the reasons why I'm very excited about this, because I've
Oh, I
I've
am
got
too.
I've got the AirPods Pro 1, and they are a wonderful set of hearing aids. And if you go ahead and you set the hearing rate, even on the Pro Maxes, you can still hear a little bit better the stuff around you, right?
Mhm.
So I'm figuring, well, I might be able to limp along with that just for a little bit until it's time to upgrade, and then go with something that'll also be an FDA rated hearing device,
Yep.
or listening aid. The thing that I think, though, is really cool. They went through the FDA approval process, as you said, Joel,
Mhm.
and B, there is, you can see these, they stick outside your ears. And one of the biggest problems, one of the reasons why hearing aids have gotten so small and so expensive is because they stick inside the ear canal, because people have this quote unquote
They don't want people to
It's a
see.
stigma.
they don't want anybody to see that they've got hearing aids.
Mhm.
Well,
Who
you know, with
gives
the
a
AirPods
crap?
Pro, they're all over your plate. Oh, they're all over the place. You can't get past seeing those,
Yep.
right? But people aren't going to. I mean, there's no humiliation, there's no degradation, there's no embarrassment when you have those things in your ears.
And I see
right?
these having a feature too, that, and this is going to have me start looking for them as I do more and more hiking and distance hiking and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I like to listen to music when I'm in the forest. However, if I am by myself or there's very
Mhm.
little low traffic on the trail, I want to be able to hear if there's some animal that is about to have
Pounce.
me for dinner.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
some guy that thinks he's going to get a free dinner if he knocks you over and takes your stuff.
Right.
know?
So I mean, so I see that as a, you know, maybe at the lower level of you being able to listen to music and be on the trail at the same time and be able to hear what's going on around you.
Right.
There are what they call what the ambient feature on some of them where you can hear ambient sounds that so it's not, you know, that is kind of this is Apple taking
Transparency.
that and going, yeah, taking that and going a step further and amplifying what's going on around you as well.
Right.
So and it was a logical step forward once they started adding the, you know, the ability, like now I hope it actually sounds good because I've tried that with the
Well, what's really
plain
cool,
AirPods and it didn't work too well for me.
what's really cool
Yeah.
about, you know, these things being better than your common OTC stuff is now that the FDA has actually approved
Mhm.
the app for the hearing aid features, right?
Mhm.
And this is huge, because this is a little bit more than just you know, an over the counter hearing aid that you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about
Mhm.
FDA approval for. The app and the software um is, you know, just one step further into satisfying the need for additional hearing devices. I mean, you know, stupid me, you know, I ended up, you know, losing my hearing um because, you know, you stand too close to
Because
the
you didn't
speaker
listen
stack,
to your
right? You stand
mother.
too close to the speaker stack, you're gonna, you know, the vibrations and the sound is gonna go ahead and cook the hearing. It's gonna scar over the eardrums a little bit. That, and you know, when you're mowing the lawn and you're busy, you know, dancing around while you're pushing the mower back and forth across the, you know, and you've got the headphones on trying to drown out the um mower, and
You don't realize
you
it's
don't
killing
realize
you.
until it's way too late. So, you know, I got it twice. But what's really cool about this is, you know, um, um, the FDA has said specifically, hearing loss is a significant public health issue impacting millions of Americans. Today's marketing authorization for an over-the-counter hearing aid software, this is for Apple, on a widely used consumer audio product is another step that advances the availability, accessibility, and acceptability of hearing support for adults with perceived mild to moderate hearing loss.
And with that, Apple stock just bumped right up.
I'm telling you, it's going to, once this thing finally hits and people start reviewing and start saying something on Threads and X and Instagram and Snapchat. Oh my gosh. My
Yep.
dad bought a pair of
And they
AirPods
really
Pros,
work.
and they really work, you know? Um, there was a what clinical study with 118 people with mild to moderate hearing loss. Results determined that the AirPods Pro with the update, i.e. the firmware update, had a similar perceived benefit when self-installed by users as those who had it installed by professionals. In other words, you can do this yourself. You don't need to see a
Anybody
doctor.
can
You
do
don't
it.
need to see a hearing specialist. You don't need to go to Sam's or Costco's and make an appointment with the audiologist. Nothing. go to the store, follow the instructions on the app, and bada boom, you're in like Flint. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah.
Not too bad. And this is a major, major, I mean, just wait until if they ever are able to do it, seriously ever able to do it. Just wait until the glucose monitoring comes out on the Apple Watch. Oh my God. All right.
I think you're going to get more people switching over for that than anything, because I know I have friends with type 2, as well as I know of people who personally who have type 1 who have to wear a monitor all the time, and they'd probably much rather wear something the size of an Apple Watch than something stuck in the side of your, I mean, granted, some type 1 people have to wear insulin pumps,
but they have to, yes. And I know some folks like you who wear insulin pumps,
and I do not
all day long.
Yeah,
you know, and they snap out, snap vials in and out and whatever it is that they do to keep the pump going. It's can be a rather complicated thing, but to be able to just put on a watch and be able to monitor your sugar wherever, whenever, however, big deal.
Without having to prick your finger. I mean, that's a big thing,
Absolutely.
I mean, people who do it multiple times a day. I take mine every morning. That's all I ever do.
And even that sensor that you wear on, somewhere on your body.
Yeah.
Right. The Dexcom, it's still got to scratch and prick your skin in order to be able to draw some blood, in order to be able to read the glucose. It doesn't do it through perspiration or whatever. All right. Somehow, hopefully, they'll crack this. I don't know if they're going to do it, if they're going to be able to do it. I know that they've been working on it for at least 10 years.
And I just hope that because Apple's done this to bring it back to the hearing aid, I'm hoping that others start to look into this as well. I mean, there's no reason Google couldn't do this with the Pixel Buds. It has all the hardware it needs.
There's no reason why anybody, Samsung, OnePlus, LG, Motorola,
especially if it already has adaptive noise canceling.
I mean, everybody who's got a set of earbuds that should be able to do this.
Yep. And everybody wears earbuds now. I mean, I'm at the gym and half the gym has earbuds in because they don't want to hear the crappy gym music,
or they don't want to hear everybody else sweat, right? I mean, they just want to be left alone and,
focus on their own
their own health and what they're doing. And, this is impactful. This is really, really interesting. And I don't, this has nothing to do with Apple Intelligence or anything else that Apple, this is not AI generated or enhanced in any way, shape, or form. That's a pretty cool segue, huh? Anyway. So it has absolutely nothing to do with any of the Apple Intelligence features that are coming up, but it's really, really an interesting technology advance like Apple Intelligence. And from what I understand, speaking of Apple's AI, there are some, Apple is they're not going to shotgun this thing, right? They're not going to shotgun Apple Intelligence.
We've said it from the minute they said they were going to do it.
Right. They're not going to shotgun this thing. They're going to go ahead and release features bit by bit over the course of the life cycle of iOS 18. And you can probably expect a number of different advancements, updates, upgrades, and whatever between the betas of iOS 19 and 20, right?
Yep.
So before they get what I would consider to be a solid baseline or foundation of what Apple Intelligence is going to be. All right. It's not going to be, that baseline won't truly form and that cement won't set with with the sunsetting of iOS 18. It will grow and enhance. And I think that what you're going to see is either in late 19 or in the release of 20, you're going to see that firm baseline get set where things are sort of cooking with gas in the way that when they're going to continue to improve and add features, from here on out to Apple Intelligence, but I think it's going to take a revision or a whole release cycle or two before we really see something that's solid, right? Now, what's going to happen in iOS 18? You're not going to see much of anything come out in the initial release of iOS 18. It's going to be iOS 18.1, where we're going to see a few Siri enhancements, including improved understanding for both follow-up requests and when you stumble over words, which will be a huge thing. Because right now, if you and Siri says, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Well, thank you very much. Stop interrupting me and let me get it out, right? There'll be some writing tools for rewriting, summarizing, and proofreading text. You'll get notification summaries for messages, mail, and other apps. You'll get suggested replies in either messages or mail. There may even be a new cleanup tool in Photos that'll remove unwanted people or objects, so you don't have to worry about you can't look at the old car that you crashed that you love so much and you want Siri to hide those for a while. It'll do that. If you don't want to see your ex anymore because they've broken up with you and they did you wrong, they'll find every instance of a photo and get rid of them. It'll be like they never were, right? You'll be able to create memories and whatnot in the Photos app by typing a description. You'll be able to do the phone call recording and transcription in 18.1, which I know a lot of folks, including me, are waiting for.
Yep.
There'll be a new focus mode called Reduce Interruptions that will sort of enhance the Do Not Disturb or the D&D functionality that they've currently got. That'll let things in a little bit better, because right now, even when you do, even though it's supposed to go ahead and let people in, say on your favorites list, call through, it doesn't always work, right? And then article summaries when using reader mode in the Safari app. And that's all going to come in 18.1. In 18.2, you're going to get some Apple Intelligence in more countries. You're going to get an image playground and Genmoji. All right. You'll get Chat GPT integration with Siri. And that'll be in 18.2. 18.3, it should be a minor update for the US holiday season. All right. They still don't know whether there's going to be anything new in 18.3. In 18.4, you're going to get personal context, on-screen awareness, and deeper per-app controls in Siri. And then you'll get Apple Intelligence in even more countries, right? Chinese, French, Japanese, Spanish. And then over the next year, you'll see more and more and more countries come online with these things, even though they're going to piecemeal things here in the States and with those countries that are going to be the quote unquote early adopters of Apple Intelligence. People that come in later in life, they'll shotgun those features for them right out the gate. So that could be kind of cool. But they're going to piecemeal this stuff in. So it's going to be a while before you get everything. So not too bad. Not too bad.
Yep.
All right, Joel, I know I can't hold you back anymore. I can't hold you back anymore. You got the Pixel 9 Pro XL. It's been in the house for a week or so, maybe a couple. What do you think? What do you got? Give us the spiel.
Okay, so this is also a little bit, well, my first experience with eSIM, which I will say was not seamless, which I don't think it ever is.
Nope.
But like when I went to do the setup, it did, Google's tools did excellent moving the data over, installing all the apps that I had on my Pixel 6 Pro,
right,
and all that. The only thing it didn't do right was actually activate it with Verizon. So I actually had to call them, and they
Now,
asked
did you
me.
have to do that from Misty's phone, or could you do that
I had
from
to do
your?
it from like I used my iPhone from my work iPhone to do
Okay.
that, and
Okay.
called them. They immediately knew when I said which number it was that I had the phone. They already had everything they needed, and then within seconds it was activated.
Okay.
All right, so it wasn't seamless, but it wasn't too bad. Right, so I'm
Okay.
now completely eSIM, which ironically Verizon kind of had that in the very beginning back in the
Back in the 1XRTT days, right?
yeah,
Back in
correct,
the late
yeah.
90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, they didn't go to Sims until LTE hit. So, but
Oh, and they only went there because they were pressured into it because AT&T, Singular, and whoever else,
everybody else,
right,
yeah.
had them, and
Hmm.
they were actually losing customers over it.
Yep, I'm sure.
Believe
Well,
it or
not to
not.
mention the fact and the one thing that going to eSIM is that makes harder is for folks like Mr. Spera here who has
Mhm.
multiple phones and want to move from one number to another phone by just swapping the SIM over. It's not as easy with
You can't do
eSIMs.
that anymore.
Yeah.
You
No, and the
cannot.
thing is, you can, but it takes a lot of effort. And also,
Yes.
the thing that still bothers me a little bit, and it should bother most neophytes a lot more, with eSIM, there's that little feeling always in the back of your mind, is something going to get AFU with this or
Right.
sideways, and my phone goes haywire, and I can't just put a new eSIM in it or a SIM in it. I
Right.
got to go to a store, get it fixed. It's just, I don't know. I'm still not a super big fan.
It's a very good question,
Right.
right? It's
Yeah.
a very, very good question. I think one of the reasons why we went to eSIMs, their Sims have been physical Sims have been known over time
Hmm.
to fail,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Somehow they get zapped or they get um some of the they can't update
Hmm.
correctly or whatever the and one of the things that most carriers will do, and they say, hey, I can't update this, I can't update that, we need you to come in and get a new SIM
New
card,
SIM card, right? So,
right?
yep. Yep. So, that's interesting. Now, this still has a SIM slot. So, if I wanted to do that, I can go get another SIM from another carrier and pop it in there. I don't know if I should be able to bop back and forth between the two, which I think that's another reason that eSIM has become a thing, is that if I go travel to Europe, I can pop a SIM in this and have a
Right.
European number when
And
I'm
not to
there.
steal your thunder on your talk about the nine, but
Right.
there is a good feature about eSIMs. With an iPhone, you can have 8 eSIMs in one phone.
Yeah.
You can't put 8 SIMs in a phone.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no, at
So
most
if
So,
you're
you
going to
have a
be able to
reason
get
to have 8 different numbers, I don't know who would.
and
right.
I don't know if they had that in the Pixel series or not.
Oh, I imagine they do. Yeah.
But
I know that with some phones, depending on where you get them, it would hold up to four.
right.
All right. Up to four, but that's it. Most of it is two, if they've, or one or two,
Right.
right? So,
So to get back to the phone though, that is the activation, that was fairly easy. It has the same kind of hole punch camera on the front. Although it says it's a 42 megapixel shooter, but you can't shoot 42 megapixel pictures with the selfie camera.
huh.
I think it's because they're doing some quad pixel thing, but I have no problems with the selfies. That they come out just fine. Everyone
Okay.
knows on Facebook I like to take selfies, so which I don't know why, but I do. Um, but so the back cameras are fantastic with the 5x zoom, which is a full 1x more than my Pixel 6 Pro had.
Hmm.
I have not really been able to take a bad picture. I haven't used any of the AI as well, other than like read playing around with the screen. And by the way, too, the AI features of, like, for example, editing the sky in your picture, you don't have to take that picture on the device. You can export it in. Like, I can take a drone picture that I've uploaded to my Google Photos and mess with that too. So it doesn't, you're not just held to just
It's
pictures
anything that you've
take.
got on the phone. It's any
Anything you
picture
get
you've
in
got
Google
on the phone.
Photos, you can use the AI features on. So, and then
Without working with the inherent qualities of an inherent JPEG, basically.
right. Yep. Pretty much
Cool.
any JPEG
Yeah.
you can put on it. One of my favorite things that they've done is the screenshots app. The only kind of negative to that is sometimes you want the screenshot to show up inside of Google Photos,
Right.
because you want to share it. It's been a minor concern because you can do that from within the screenshot app. But the thing I like about it in the
Mhm.
screenshot app is you can go in there and can hit a button and delete all the screenshots on your phone. Period.
See, now that's not bad. That's not a bad feature.
Yeah,
And I'll
just
bet
to
it
clean
doesn't
it
take,
up.
I'll bet it doesn't take a screenshot every third time you put it in your pocket like a
No.
knife.
Oh,
No.
you're so picky.
I
Yeah.
am.
No,
Oh,
it does. Well, it does
Thank
too.
God.
Like it still has one of my features that I loved on the Pixel 6 Pro was the double tap to take a screenshot. That still happens on this one. It's wonderful. And you also have the ability to take, like, if you have a screenshot that has secure data in it, you can put that into a secure enclave. So that you don't and you can say, hey, I want my screenshots uploaded to Google or not. All right. So if you have
Yeah.
something that you've got on your phone that's secure data that you don't want in the cloud, you can choose not to do that. Of course, it wouldn't be talking about the Pixel 9 series without talking about Gemini, which is Google's AI. You get a free year of Gemini Advanced, but I'm wondering if by the end of this year that everything that's in Gemini Advanced won't be just free.
They'll
Because
have something else better by then. And
yeah,
Well-
because the just this week they announced that the live functions in Gemini are now free for everyone. Like, for example, I can do this. Tell me about the iTechGear Weekly podcast.
The Tech Gear Weekly podcast is all about tech news and the week's hottest topics. The show's hosts cover everything from new gadgets to software updates, with a healthy dose of tech support tips thrown in. They also have segments like Pick of the Week to highlight cool new products and Tip of the Week to help you get more out of your tech. If you're curious about the latest in the world of tech, shows like Tech Gear Weekly do a great job of breaking things down in an easy way.
no, Chris Spera paid her to say that.
Well, here, who are the hosts of this podcast?
The Tech Gear Weekly podcast is hosted by Chris Spera, Chris Gavula, Joel McLaughlin, and Larry McJunkin. They've all got a long history in tech journalism, so they bring a lot of knowledge and experience to the show.
So you see, I just asked it a fact that I wanted to know about the previous one, and it just picked right up on it.
Sure.
So I mean, so that is just
It took the pronoun. It
Yep.
took the
Right.
pronoun.
so and it's so cool. I have not played with that I need to show somebody that at like church or something, because to me that is how the AI things, a lot of these AI things should be. So I haven't asked it anything about coding or anything like that. But I love Gemini on here. I may keep it if there's certain features that are still paid by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, I'll take advantage of that.
Well, Joel, you have my permission to go ahead and use our podcast as an example
Yes.
anywhere you like for anybody.
Well, and our little old podcast, Google knew about it, which is actually I find
Pretty
kind of
cool.
incredible.
Well,
But then
thank
the
you,
screen,
Yoast.
the screen itself is the best screen I've ever had on a Pixel device, period. It has a super actual display. It's 3,000 nits on the brightness, and it happens to be the first phone that I've kept adaptive screen on. It works
Nice.
wonderfully. I mean, yeah, I don't know how it does it, but it's automatically picking. Now, granted, sometimes it might be a little dark, so I'll go hit the double swipe and then do the adjust the brightness there, and it doesn't automatically go back to the adaptive that's too dark. It
Can
stays
you,
where you
Joel,
put it.
can you ask Gemini if she would please explain to Apple how to do this properly? Because
I wish.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just no matter where you put it, it's right back where it wants to be in 2 seconds.
Yep. Yeah, and it seems to stay where I want it when that happens. And it's great because if I go someplace, like if I go outside and
Mhm.
where I wanted it inside is not bright enough, it automatically scales on up.
What about
And
when
I
you go
can
back
see
inside? Will
it does the same
reset?
thing. Yeah, it
Wow.
does the same thing.
See, that's real nice.
I mean, it's been the best adaptive screen I've ever seen.
That's really
So I
nice.
have no complaints about the screen whatsoever. It does feel a little odd compared because it has the flatter sides like iPhones now have. I don't think it's, you know, a lot of people say they're stealing from Apple. I don't know, really think that, because if they were, they
It's
wouldn't
just
have
the
this.
way of the way of devices now.
They wouldn't
Right.
have this giant bump on the back, which, as you can
Right.
see in a case, it's insignificant. So it doesn't bother me. In fact, I bought a case. It's like I don't even know what brand of case this is, but it has the MagSafe on it. MagSafe chargers all work great. One thing I did discover is with the MagSafe, if you have the Pixel stand like I do,
Mm.
it don't worky. So it only works with the if I take the phone out, it works fine with it. I didn't have any of the wireless charging issues that some people have reported. Also, another one they reported was like if you have like the keyboard up, the little doopy doo here, the little down arrow you can probably barely see, was kind of hard to tap or something. I just think people were just bitching the bitch, to be honest on that, because I haven't had a problem with it. It's hard for me to hit it, but only because I got 53-year-old eyes, and wearing bifocals, probably my third or fourth set of them. You know, so
Mhm.
it's I have no problems at all with this. The battery life has been freaking tastic. I can go all day. I very rarely though. I was sitting here, and I just plugged it into a charger that I have here at the desk. So usually, if I'm sitting at my desk at work, I'll plug it in the charger, even if it doesn't need to. Tensor G4 is a chip in it, and while it may not be as fast as Apple's latest chips or anything like that, the only people who are going to be or even the Snapdragon for that matter, the only people who are going to be disappointed with it are those that are playing Twitch games on it, you know, where you have to have real fast reflexes. Then you might notice it playing games, but since mobile games suck, I very rarely play them on my phone. So,
Sure.
you know, I really don't care for them. Trying to think of anything specific on the phone. With regards to Google, the Pixel 9 Pro. I'm not really, I mean, there's some things that are that I've played around with. In it, you know, it's a mature Android's now a mature operating system. The version that's on this is Android 14 currently, with 15 probably coming next month, I think. It's already in AOS SP, so it won't be too much longer before Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL or 9 Pros will get the features. Now, am I glad I went with the 9 Pro XL versus the Fold? Absolutely. I even with as good as the screen is on the 9 Fold, I can't accept seeing a crease on a brand new phone. It's just not going to work with me.
Joel, does that have the same ProMotion type display, the fast display scrolling as the iPhone?
Yes, it's a
Pro?
120 hertz
120
display.
hertz, yeah.
Yeah. And I have no problems with that. I have one thing I did play around with, because this phone has it, my 6 Pro didn't have, is the AI wallpaper generator, which is pretty nifty. The only thing I wish it doesn't, the wallpaper generator doesn't have you, like, you can't just type in a text prompt. Like, it has the styles here, in, like, for example, I can pick terrain. Then I could say surreal or realistic. I'll say realistic. Then I can scroll down here. If I tap the word cliff was the first one there, but if I tap, I can tap in glacier in shades of, let's say, make glaciers in shades of green. Then I can create a wallpaper. Takes a minute. And that's what it kind of looks like when it's generating the wallpaper.
I'm glad we can see it. Our listeners
Yeah.
can't.
And there you go. That's kind of what it looks like.
It really
So,
looks
Yeah,
good,
it's
folks.
not too bad. Not too bad. If
But-
we were a video podcast, it would probably be
Yeah.
a whole
and the
lot
nice
better.
thing I like is once you have it generated, see, I can swipe around and get different options.
There you go.
So-
Variations on a theme.
So basically, I've messed around. I created a bunch of them, and you literally could have a new wallpaper every day if you wanted doing it that way. But I really like it. I mean, if you're a fan of Android like I am, I've been Android since the very beginning. With the G1, I had the G1 given to me by a good friend of ours, Judy Lipset. She gave me I think she wanted it back when Microsoft did their mobile thing. What was that? I forget what they used to call that.
But
but-
the MVP program.
No, they used to do like a yearly thing.
Oh, the MVP summit. Yeah.
No, it was something different. It was specific for mobile phones.
Yeah.
I remember
The
that one.
Microsoft mobile
it's,
devices MVP summit. Yeah.
No, it was something different. I forget what the name of it was. But yeah, apparently this is before Microsoft did any of the window. They were still doing Pocket PCs at the time. And that's when she got it. So I had the G1. I still have that. I still have that phone. It's in a drawer over here.
Nice.
Not very useful in this time day because I don't even think it supports any of the networks support the 3G that it's on anymore.
All right. So
But-
Joel, you all right, so you've got the 9 Pro XL and you took a long look at the Google Fold, right?
Yeah.
The Pixel Fold, right?
Yep.
All right. So I guess there is everybody knows who Huawei is, right?
Right.
They are one of the biggest phone companies in the world.
Yep.
They are very popular in China and in Southeast Asia.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we are in the States are not able to get
Not unless we ship
their
it in from overseas.
you know, simply because I believe there's too much of a concern as to whether or not Huawei is actually connected through the Chinese government and whether or not
Yep.
their hardware would be able to spy on the American public and anywhere else in the States. But they have come out with a brand new trifold phone.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So the question that I have for you, all right, based on where you are, and I want to hear from you too, Larry, and I'll chime in as well, but is there a use case for a trifold phone, which is a brand new offering from Huawei? Is there truly a use case for it?
Well, unfolded, you get a 10.2-inch display. If it really frosts you or it's too much to carry a tablet and a phone, maybe, I don't know. All I can say is that when I look at it, I see 2 creases
Mhm.
instead of 1 crease, and I still don't want it.
Right.
Because that's the other thing too. When you fold it all up, so it's more like your traditional smartphone. That first screen,
It folds out, right? That hinges
it's still
out
on
to
the
that,
outside. Yeah.
and the first hinge is screen out,
Yep.
right?
It's the softer screen that's now available to put. I mean, I watch jerry rig everything. Zach over there did this teardown of the Pixel Fold,
Mm.
And everyone cried. But no,
Yeah.
but he when he did that, he really tests the durability of these things. And you could put a mark in the screen with your fingernail.
Yes,
I'm
you
like,
can.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I don't want that to be the screen
But
that's
they
on the
have to
outside
do
of the
that to
phone.
give it the non-crease thing, you know?
Yeah,
True.
It's a
well,
trade-off I don't want.
yeah,
True.
And in
yeah,
fact,
same.
Chris, go ahead and ask me what I think about a trifold phone.
Well, geez, Larry, what do
What do
you
you
think
think?
about a trifold phone?
Never will be in my pocket.
Yeah,
Ever.
yeah. I mean,
nor
I'm
nor
saying
will
the
a
same thing too.
one-fold phone.
Well, did
Especially
you
mean,
guys
since
see the price on this thing? I
it's
mean, it is near
ridiculous.
3,000 US
oh
dollars.
my God.
All right. Um,
Yeah,
here
it
we are
looks
busting a gasket
nice.
related to the Galaxy Fold 6 and the Pixel Fold, right? When they are somewhere north of $1,500 to $2,000.
Right.
Even with the OnePlus Open, when it introduced at or started at $1,299, you could still get it up closer to $1,600, $1,700, depending on the amount of
Memory.
storage that you bought. But I mean, holy smokes, this is a $3,000 phone.
That when I use the primary display, which is the one that's usually on the inside of most foldables, I can destroy them with my fingernail. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's not happening. I mean, because that top screen on a foldable, at least on the Pixel 9 Fold, that
Right.
screen is, what Gorilla Glass or whatever, one of those things.
Right.
So it's not gonna, the screen you use all the time will be fine.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but I mean, so
So
this phone, this trifold phone, which I believe is called the Mate XT. All right. The 256 gigabyte model is $2,800.
Wow. Wow.
The
Wow.
1 terabyte version is $3,370, almost $3,400. So this
Mm,
is as
mm,
much
mm.
as a Apple a
okay.
nicely configured
A
MacBook Pro.
reasonably good small used car, for heaven's
There
sakes.
you go. All right.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, I like that people are starting to do different things to break out of the slab. I don't think this is the way. I mean, it's
yeah, I don't
making
have a problem. I don't have a problem with the trifold, especially again. I mean, the use case here is I want to carry one device for
right
my one device
for
to
all of
rule them
it.
all, for my phone, for my tablet, and maybe depending on if I get a Bluetooth keyboard or whatever they've got,
Mhm.
if for accessories for this thing, um, something that I can, write memos or email on, or I can use as a mobile office, depending on how mobile I am. Nowadays, that's not as much as it used to be. All
Right.
right. Because there's too many people working from home. But I mean, oh my goodness.
And the guy that says that, or the girl who says they're going to use that phone for that use case, will have a gargantuan purse or a gargantuan bag on their back in which
Mhm.
they could have put an
Well, then,
iPad to start with.
Or a laptop or some
right.
Right,
kind
or
of
I
anything.
mean, and then I look at this too, is how in the world could you put a case on this thing too? I mean,
you
you
can't.
basically can't. Yeah, I
You
mean,
can't.
I mean,
No,
where's it
no.
gonna go?
I mean, you've got two different folds. You've got two different folds, one that folds in, one that folds out. All
Yep.
right. And if you look at, I mean, the device looks absolutely gorgeous. All right. When
Oh
you look
yeah.
at the back of this device, on the article at
Looks
Android
like you got
Central that
leather on the
we're
back
that
side
we're
of it, I think.
yeah, I mean it looks like it's got a red leather sort of coating on the back with gold and a really nice big huge
Kind of reminds me
camera
of the old
sensor or
Virtus they
camera
used to have.
array. I mean,
You know
it's
what? At $3,400, it probably comes with a $250 phone stock.
wouldn't doubt that, but
Well, no, that's only Apple makes phone socks and iPod socks, but hey, yeah,
all
but
I,
yeah,
I just I don't know how much of a use case we're going to see for a trifold phone. I do credit Huawei with, again, like you said, Joel, trying to break out of the single screen candy bar slab, right? Or even the sandwich fold, right? Um, but I mean, wow. I I I I might be able to get myself into something like that for occasional work and for some mobile gaming, but I mean,
yeah,
at the price point that it's at, I just don't see it catching on.
yeah,
But that's just me.
yeah.
So
And it has what processor they put in this? Does it say?
I don't know. I don't like rushing over to the Android or the Huawei site just because you never know.
Yeah.
Um,
And technically, it's using its own variant of Android
yeah.
called Harmony OS
Well,
version
yeah, it is. And
4.2
that's the Android variant that they've got on all their
with
devices.
no Play Store. You'd have to side load the Play Store.
Mm-hmm.
It has 66-watt fast charging, 50-watt wireless charging.
Right.
So I'm assuming the wireless is right underneath the camera. Up to 1 terabyte of internal storage. Let's
Right.
see. Doesn't say because I'm looking through.
50 megapixel primary lens with
Oh,
optical
and
image stabilization, 12 megapixel ultra wide
it
angle
also
lens,
has
and 12
satellite SOS.
megapixel periscope lens. Um,
Yeah, it has
it's
satellite
got
SOS on it, just like by the way, Pixel 9 tab. Hope to
mhm,
never use it, but I'm glad it's there.
right.
Uh,
Primary
yeah,
lens, it's got a
yeah.
periscope, 12 megapixel periscope lens. It's got the X image, Huawei's X image imaging system. Um, the rear array offers 10 variable aperture levels, and the primary lens can go from a 1.4 to a 4.0 f-stop. So, it's and the front safe facing selfie is a lens is an 8 megapixel lens. So it looks like it's a decent
It's got
um
okay. Here's the it's got 8-core CPU. Uh, that is the Taishan Big Core. That's their chip.
mhm,
Three running at 2.818 gigahertz. Oh wait, no, 8-core CPU consists of one 2.3 gigahertz Taishan Big Core, three 2.18 gigahertz Taishan Mid Cores, and four 1.55 gigahertz Cortex A510 cores
right,
paired with a McLaughlin 910 MP4 GPU.
right.
So it's all Chinese, Chinese, Chinese,
It
Chinese.
is. It is.
Every bit of
Um
it.
right, but it's got a 6.4-inch OLED display with a 240 hertz refresh rate and a 1.44 gigahertz PMW dimming rate. Holy smokes. I mean, this thing is, I mean, it's packed. This thing is powerful.
Yeah, it's built on the 7 nanometer processor, which is the same as the Kirin 9000 chips. Yeah,
Sure.
it's again a nice device, but I guarantee you probably can't get one with the English version of Harmony OS on it. So
Um, you know, let me just say this. I know Huawei will sell to non-Chinese folks. All right. And I know that this is probably available in New Zealand. It's probably available in Australia. So I
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if there was either a English or a British or Australian English version
right.
running around somewhere. So
It's 120 hertz display too. So I
yeah,
mean
I mean
that's
it's
good.
yeah, I mean
But it's like will you ever see them at a US carrier? Never.
No, not
Uh,
not on a U.S.
no.
carrier.
You
No,
might not even be able to activate it on a US carrier.
don't know yet. Don't
Right.
know. It would be interesting to. I just don't know what wireless signals it or what spectrum version of spectrum it uses. So I have no idea. But anyway, interesting, interesting that this is out there. I don't know that I see a real world use case for it. If there's
Yeah.
anybody out there that's seen it, that's used it, that's put their hands on it, please send us an email at tips@itechgear.org and let us know. And if you've got pictures of it, we'd love to see those too. So
Yep.
anyway, so I'm
Something
gonna go
that
ahead.
Chris is getting excited about, but
I
I would never get excited about.
I like gadgets and technology, which is the reason
Yes.
why iTechGear.org exists. It's the reason why the iTechGear Weekly exists. I don't know that I would love to own one, but I would love to at least play with one.
Right. I
You
would
know,
too.
you know.
Yeah.
I would too. And
Um,
one thing I won't do that Chris might do is put their digital ID in the Google Wallet.
that's something that's interesting. This is the last story in our mobile Linux segment. And this is a really interesting kind of development. Um, Google is uh, going to allow users. They're opening up a beta test to allow
Mhm.
U.S. passports as a digital ID in Google Wallet.
Yep.
All right. Now, if you are also a resident of Iowa, New Mexico, or Ohio, Joel,
Nope. Never do it. I'll never do
you'll
it.
soon be able to add your
Yeah.
state ID to Google Wallet in the coming months. All
Or
right.
your driver, aka
You
driver's
can right,
license for
right.
most
You're
of
going
the
to join
state.
states like these three states joined California, which was added last what they say last month, but this is a recent article.
Yep.
All right. And Google Wallet will also gain support for
Commuter
commuter
cards.
benefit cards,
Yep.
as well as
That I'd have no problem using, but I don't commute, so
well,
yeah.
benefit cards and start
Yeah.
they will Eden Red and Health Equity will also be able to be
So I
able to
assume
put in
you're
Google
probably
Wallet.
gonna be able to put like your flex cards in your wallet as well,
Yeah.
which you probably can now since they are
Well,
visas.
there are apps that are available on on the iOS side that will work with Apple Wallet that will allow you to
Yep.
take the information that's on a quote unquote non-supported card and let you put it into a card that you can use.
All you got to do is take a shot of it, a picture of it, and it'll take it right from the picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm like I said, I'm not gonna probably do any of this just because I don't. It's not that well, yeah, I don't trust government.
Right.
But for one, but I'm actually more concerned with like if that's the only ID I have with me is the one that's on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't want the government, law enforcement to see what's on my phone. I don't have anything to hide. I just don't want them to see
Right.
it.
You just don't want them perusing and snooping through
It's none of their business.
your underwear drawer. You don't want them to see
Right.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. No,
Yeah.
you should understand though, if you do jump on the beta and you do get accepted and you stick this in your Google Wallet, you're still going to need to take your physical passport with you, either
Yep.
the card or the book.
We gotta stamp it.
There's
Right?
only you can those digital IDs can only be used to pass through select TSA checkpoints domestically.
Right.
All right.
Right.
You can view there's a full map of checkpoints that where you can use them. They include major hubs like LAX, San Francisco, JFK, LGA, or LaGuardia in New York. The digitized version of your passports and Google Wallet will not allow you to pass through U.S. Customs and Border Protection domestically or abroad. So, in other words, you can use this as identification to fly from LA to San Francisco to, LA to Chicago or wherever inside the United States at those places that actually accept the digital ID. But you cannot go outside of the states with that version of the digital.
Therefore, they're still useless.
Right.
Yeah.
So, here's the concern that I have. In theory, all right, I do not have a problem with a digital ID. All right. I'm not going to go too deep into this because I don't want to get things too political. Depending on which political camp you are in, whether you are of the blue variety or whether you are of the red variety, I can see on both sides of that coin where folks may have concerns about what the other side will do with the information once it is in fact digitized on your phone. Because once it's digitized and electronic, it's everywhere and they can do some really weird things with it. Now, I will tell you that once you apply for a passport, you're in every digital database that the United States has anyway,
True.
Including the one that just got hacked.
including that one. However, I can see where some folks may still feel you're still exposed, you're still vulnerable, even without, if you are a passport holder, even without a digital ID, you're still exposed, you're still vulnerable, you're still everywhere, and the government has access to your personal information. All right. But I can also see and understand where there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to be very uncomfortable about having that digitized.
I guess my thing on this is, to what point? I mean, you have an ID card, it's in your wallet. It's
Right.
just as hard or to lose or not lose as your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like Joel said, it's not so much in my case, I don't trust it. I just don't
Mhm.
see a need to have the damn thing. I just don't.
Right. No, I understand.
I mean, it's a cool factor. Oh yeah, I got my passport, my wallet, my driver's license. I got all that stuff in my
and all I
Apple
need
wallet.
is this little gadget here. And what happens when you lose it?
And when you lose it,
Same
you still
same
have to
thing
have the
for what
wallet with
happens.
you.
Same thing can be said for what happens when you lose your wallet, right? Your physical wallet,
Right.
right? It gets stolen, it gets lost or misplaced or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got the same problems. I don't know, but I can understand where some folks will still feel uncomfortable about this.
Yeah, I'm not a fan yet. I might be one day, but right now I'm not.
Yeah. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know how well this will be accepted. I don't know if this is something that Apple is also going. I know that you can stick your there are some states and there's got to be like 4 or 5 plus the other 3 here, so there may be a total of 8 out of 50 that are coming close to or have digital IDs, and you can have your driver's license in your Apple wallet.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to jump on this whole idea of putting your passport in your Apple wallet either. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I do think though that it's at some point it's something that is in 50 years it may all be digitized. There may not be a card anywhere. It may all be digitized. Who knows how it's going to happen? Well, that's the end of our mobile Linux segment, and we will continue on with our Windows segment right after this brief message. 100 episodes. The iTechGear Weekly has more than 100 episodes. We've been doing this, oh my goodness, for almost 4 years. And to be very honest, the iTechGear Weekly needs your help. We need your subscriptions. We need your donations. Anything at any time would be very much appreciated. We need your help. I will tell you that I am about $3,000 a year in on site maintenance as well as show maintenance. And while we're not really going to stop, we really do need your help. Any kind of donation that you can go ahead and provide to us, either through a Patreon subscription or directly to the site via my personal PayPal, Chris at iTechGear.org, would be greatly appreciated. You can subscribe to a monthly newsletter for just a small amount every month at www.patreon.com/iTechGear. If you do that, you get a summary of all of the shows. You get a summary of all of the articles that we post with direct links to everything that happens on the site. Boy, we've had a great time over the last 3 years and change, providing everyone with the steps and procedures needed to make technology all that much easier to understand and use. Boy, again, we could use your help in making it easier to provide those wonderful things that we do, that voodoo that we do so well, to you on a daily and weekly basis. So please, if you have the time, smash that subscribe button on the podcast. If you have the time and you have the inkling, go to our Patreon site, www.patreon.com/iTechGear. Subscribe to our newsletter. Provide us with a small donation. One time, monthly, doesn't matter. We'll go ahead and continue to provide you with that knowledge and insight that all four of us have every week. I want to say thank you to you, even if you don't donate, even if you don't subscribe. I still want to thank you for the opportunity to come to you every week, because we sure do have a great time doing the show. So from all of us here at the iTechGear Weekly and from iTechGear.org, we thank you, we love you, and we'll see you soon. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 106, Google Drive or else. And I want to go ahead and I want to move us into our Windows segment nowadays. And I kind of spelled this funny in the show notes, or at least I tried to. I tried to go a little Carl Sagan on us a little bit.
Yeah,
Intel could lose billions.
Good.
If it's not careful. There are a lot of things that are going on in the chip markets nowadays. And I'm kind of concerned, kind of curious about what's gonna happen with some of the US players here. But there is a piece of legislation called the US Chip Acts that provides grants to chip manufacturers here in the States. And Intel was set to receive $8 billion in grants through this act, and then possibly an additional $11 billion in loans. Right. But that's all now up in the air.
And that's big time affecting Ohio, because That's the one place they're building a plant out in New Albany, which is not
Yeah.
all that far from me. But that was expected to be completed by 2026 or 2027, with production starting in 2027. The original plan, that's
Mhm.
what the current plans are. The original plan was to have this operational next year. They're way behind on this.
Right.
Some of
And
that,
because they are behind,
right.
right? Because they are, the U.S. Chip Act specifically stipulates that the company has to meet certain milestones, stand up to scrutiny, and they've got to meet certain manufacturing and or um, production quotas and whatnot, or however the act is actually pulled together in order to keep receiving the money from the government. All
Right.
right. And Intel has been struggling this year. All right.
Yes.
Um,
They're laying off
in well,
people.
their foundry services is losing money, and the company has got a absolutely abysmal earnings report for August. And I think what's really the ARM chips, Apple Silicon, um, the Snapdragon chips that are out there, the Plus and the Elite, and a number of different phone chips, et cetera, as well as tablet and computer chips are really they're more efficient with power. They're more efficient. They're cooler in functioning, and so you don't have the need or the issues that you've got with non-ARM related chips. Could be AMD, could be Intel, or a number of others that have not hit these milestones or have not made these advances and are currently sort of, running behind. Intel's in a sore spot. They are nowhere near a 3 nanometer process where Apple Silicon is. All right, or anybody else's. They're still on a 5 nanometer process.
Yep, the G5 is supposed to be 3 nanometer
And
for Google.
right, and it's I would think that they are a little farther ahead than Intel is right now, and I'm concerned because they're a major foundry here in the U.S. The government's trying to stand the industry up, trying to stand the businesses up, and make them more competitive, so that we can get more business or have
Yep.
safer, secure computing here in the States, and they're close to passing on $19 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that if that actually happens, I don't know how recoverable it is going to be for them.
Yep. We'll find out more this later this month, probably, because I know they have a big meeting where they're talking about the what they call Ohio One, which is the Intel foundry they're trying to build here. It's well behind. They're one of the big things that was kind of a big thing here in the area was the super loads. They had these huge loads where they literally had to shut down parts of US 23 and stuff, all the way up to
For pulling the factory and the foundries together. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean that was going over the summer, but there's just so much stuff and the thing that really irks me is our president is just making a big deal about this, but I'm like, but Mr. President, they haven't made one chip here yet.
Right.
I'm
And
like,
right. They're still touting. They made a statement to Bloomberg that says that we are making significant progress across our U.S. projects in Arizona, New Mexico, Ohio, and Oregon, and look forward to finalizing our funding agreement soon. The problem is, in August of this year, they posted a net loss of $1.61 billion.
yep.
And Intel's, at least according to Bloomberg or to Reuters, Intel shareholders were blindsided, all right, to find out that their foundry services are floundering. All right.
Not to mention the fact, if you look at the article I just put in our chat there,
Yeah.
Intel CEO Gelsinger is reported considering selling off the Intel foundry altogether. That's a big deal, folks.
That's huge because
Yeah.
that's the end of Intel.
Basically.
That's the end of Intel.
Yep.
All right. That is the last thing that they do. And at that point, the government's going to have to step in because they aren't going to want somebody from Southeast Asia
Like
coming in
TSMC
like TSMC or
Samsung.
Samsung or Huawei or anybody else coming in and swallowing that business up.
But I think that begs the question, it's probably for another show, not now, but
Right.
can we live without Intel? My vote is yes. I really think
Can we
can.
live without Intel? My vote would also be yes. I think that there are
Yeah.
other more compelling mobile chips that are out there. There are other more compelling desktop chips that are.
Do we want to do that? No, of course
No,
No,
not.
we
absolutely
don't.
not.
No.
Because you got to consider this Windows version of the ARM version is very good, but it's not 100% yet. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of stuff won't play on it.
Yeah, I mean,
well, there are a lot of utilities. Any sort of base hardware utilities have a hard
Yep.
time and will not run on
Yep.
an ARM chip.
Not to mention the fact the servers are, especially Linux servers, really want the Intel hardware. I mean, can Linux run an ARM hardware? Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, it can. Does it
Yeah.
want to? Does it really, really want to?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like most of the AWS servers that I use, they're not Intel hardware, they're actually AMD Epics right now.
Well,
but
let's go ahead and grab the old Magic 8 Ball and give it a shake and see what happens.
yeah,
Yeah. Signs point to no. I mean, I just don't see it happening. I really, really don't. And there was a reason why Intel laid off 15,000 people.
Yep.
All right. They're trying to save $10 billion through 2025. All right. These guys are having problems. All right. These guys are having some very, very serious problems. And if they don't do something serious, all right, they're gonna fold. All right. They lost $7 billion in 2023. They've lost $1.61 billion just in August. All right. I don't see that they need to do something serious.
Yep.
Otherwise this 2025, 26 could see the end of Intel. Their shareholders are going to go ahead and demand something be done, and I just don't know what they could do other than sell the IP to pay the shareholders back.
Yep.
So,
well, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. So, Larry, I know that this one wants to make you even less a Microsoft fan. All right, this next story.
Not really. No, in all honesty,
but they confessed that they broke Windows.
Well, let's just tell it what it really is. First of all, this is really another meh thing because it only affects a very small amount of people. It doesn't affect really you and I unless you're working on an enterprise version, a specific enterprise version called Windows 10 Enterprise 2015 LTSB, which is the long-term servicing branch. And it's for, a lot of, when Microsoft changes from Windows 7 to 8 to 10 to whatever, big companies can't just get rid and move tens and 20s and 30s of thousands of computers all at once. They have to
No.
be able to work
No.
in an older environment, but with a current supported a system that will still be protected, if you will. So it's only this one version, but yes, they did break it. It was an embarrassing thing for those companies, those big companies that were running this. Doesn't affect if you bought your computer at Best Buy. Trust me, you are not affected.
No, this is really only a corporate
but
related issue.
It's a rather strange vulnerability. It's caused actually by the way that people installed the security patch. So if a user installs a security update released between March and August of 2024, and then after he does that, then he applies an update that was released since March 12th to the OS. The OS will revert to the updated software, reverted software back to the base release version, which is the RTM version.
Yeah.
And that's like going back to ground zero of Windows 10. So that's a bad
and you
thing,
lose all the updates.
You lose everything.
Yeah.
But it's just such a small percentage.
It is. I mean, it's like you said, it's Windows 10 Enterprise 2015 long-term servicing.
And I've always had a problem with that, even when I worked with Enterprise. I really think that Enterprise, they can afford, if anybody, to go ahead and buy all new computers or all new versions of the software. Why the hell don't they? Because they're too freaking lazy and they don't want to spend the money.
Well, it's more the latter than the former.
Well, probably so. Probably
all right.
so.
It's that they don't want to spend the money. That and they
But
don't.
Microsoft gives them this way out. You know, they shouldn't.
Agreed. The other version that this also affects is Windows 10 Internet of Things Enterprise or IoT Enterprise 2015. Right. And this does in fact carry a maximum severity score of 9.8. The maximum, I believe,
meaning this is a real bad thing.
Yeah, this is a 9.8 out of 10.0. All right. This is huge. So unfortunately, for those folks that are affected, it's absolutely horrible for most people, and I would say 99.8% of the world, it's not going to affect. All right.
True.
It's just going to hit those folks that are running those older versions of Windows 10 Enterprise in the 2015, either Internet of Things or the long-term servicing line. So
yeah, well, the next thing makes me a lot more mad.
Yeah.
You and I think everybody else that's currently using Windows 11, and this is going to affect folks at home. This will
affect you if you buy
it will affect you if you're
Buy.
using Windows 11 at home. They've kind of struck again with ads that can't be disabled in Windows 11. So this
is the fact, but why are they doing this is one thing, and then why aren't they even being fair and let it affect someone else? But no, it's all about their cloud, their
they're trying to get you to buy. They're offering you a free version of OneDrive. It gives you 5 gigabytes of storage, and then they hit you with ads that, hey, for $2 a month, we can expand that 5 gigabytes.
We notice that your system's
and,
not being backed up with the Windows built-in solution, i.e. OneDrive.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to get 1 terabyte of space, it'll cost you $7 a month. Right. Blah, 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 blah.
They almost make it sound like a threat to the unassuming, just average Joe out there.
Yeah.
And it's like they're saying, you better do this or else.
Or you could lose
everything. You could lose everything.
But that, you can say that to anybody who's not using either an on-prem or off-prem backup process. All right. And that, my friends, has been around since the dawn of computing.
And will continue.
All right. And will continue to be an issue. All right. Until the end of the world, the end of time. All right.
But it's almost like, when you fire up Microsoft 365 on your computer, you have to, on a Mac especially, you have to go through the throes of the dam to get that thing to save to your Mac. It's going to save to OneDrive. And that's the way it wants
interestingly
you.
enough, I mean, it'll save to OneDrive, but if you've got OneDrive configured correctly, it doesn't matter if you save initially to the cloud or initially to your local,
My Mac, whatever.
or your Mac or your Windows machine. It's going to synchronize both of those locations anyway.
Anyway, whether you want it or not.
If you're using the service,
Right.
all right, if you're using the service, you want it to, but it's going to synchronize to the cloud, or synchronize your local to the cloud, or your cloud to the local, or however you want to put it, but it's going to put them in both locations anyway. And that's the idea behind, OneDrive, Google
But my
Drive,
point is, it's my computer, it's my
Dropbox,
software,
whatever else.
it's my data. Let me sync it to whatever cloud I want, period. Or both
And
clouds,
your
or
software
10 clouds.
should work well and perform well and allow
Right.
you to configure it to use any other cloud service that's out there.
Not mentioned in the ad.
Not mentioned in the
right.
ad, yes. So that means I should be able to go and save my show notes or my spreadsheets or my Word documents or my resumes or whatever it is to Google Drive, and not have to worry about, the syncing process or whatever. It's just there. It's available everywhere.
And there's a lot of other, besides the big two or three, like Google and Microsoft and Apple iCloud. A lot of people don't know that, AWS is probably the largest cloud computing. Joel, are they not probably the largest cloud computing solution on the planet?
Probably it would either be AWS or Google.
Or Google. But
with,
where I was
Microsoft in the
going,
third.
the average Joe can get a free account on AWS if they want it. They just don't know about it.
Right.
I mean, I have one.
Right. How much space did that give you?
I don't even know. I
Not-
haven't
not
touched it in
much.
so long. Probably not
at
much.
all. Yeah.
But it gives you a little bit. I mean, and you can buy more. You can
Of
buy
course
more.
you can.
Yep.
Of course you can.
But
And
I mean, I
wouldn't be
would
surprised.
consider that a lot safer a place to put my stuff.
Just did a search here. Who is the top cloud provider? Amazon Web Services, largest cloud provider with a 32% market share as of January 2024.
Google's second then.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. It's just Microsoft being Microsoft, and they're getting so bad at that,
Well,
or
Yep.
good at it.
the
of
one
two.
thing, if there's one thing, each version of Windows has a thing,
Right.
right?
Actually, Microsoft is number 2 with Azure.
Oh, are they really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So each version of Windows has a thing, right? Windows 8 had the problem with their start menu didn't work very well. Everybody had problems with the Metro apps and that whole paradigm shift. Windows 7 was supposed to be the Windows XP savior. Windows XP was alive for 15 years in active support, and Microsoft couldn't wait to get rid of the doggone thing.
Best version that ever was.
Right. Windows 10 was that build between Windows 8 and 8.1 that kind of got us away from that whole tablet interface paradigm, and Windows 11 is probably where they wanted to take Windows 10 because it was really nothing more than a coat of paint on top of Windows 10 when they first released it. But each version of Windows has a thing, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Windows 11, it is ads, pop-up ads that either can't be disabled, or Microsoft is busy fighting with independent developers who are creating apps that will allow you to disable them. And they're really just trying to eke out more revenue. But but sticking ads in the start menu or sticking bombarding you with ads while you're trying to save something is not the way to do it, man. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I don't understand the strategy, the marketing strategy behind this. I really just don't. So,
And that begs a point that I'm going to make only because I'm old enough of the three of us here to remember back in the very, very early days of Windows 3.1 and Windows 95 after
Mhm.
that, Microsoft truly had an internal mantra: keep it clean, keep everything in our operating system clean. They
yeah,
lost
the
that
KISS principle,
somewhere
right?
along the
Keep it
way.
simple, stupid, right?
Well, yeah, but
Right.
it was just keep all the junk out of it. Don't mess it up. Just let it do what it does and keep it clean. And
Well, Sanofsky
now it's
Sanofsky was
not.
in
Now it's
charge
dirty.
then,
Now it's
right?
junk.
I mean,
I'm sorry, but
no.
it's not junk, but it's junky at times.
Well, you had different people that were in charge back then, and they understood
I realize
computing
that. I know.
and the paradigm's a little bit better, I think, than the folks that are there nowadays. All right.
Yeah.
I'm I mean, I don't want to give
And that's
kudos
probably
to
the same thing that could be said about Apple or Google or anybody. I mean,
I
the
don't want to
initial generations were the cleaner ones, we'll call them.
potentially there are some things that I really like that Apple is doing now that I do not think would have seen
Mhm.
the light of day
Oh, no, you're
with
right
Jobs
there,
still around.
especially with hardware. Oh my
Yep.
God.
All right. I
Yep.
don't think
I look at it's funny you mentioned that because I look at the latest iPhone releases with the added buttons and I thought, God, Jobs is rolling in his grave.
Oh, he is. He is having a cat right now.
I
oh,
mean,
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
But I think that some of the buttons that they've added, especially that new camera button, is
Yeah.
That looks like it'll be
absolutely
fun to me. I'm gonna
it's
Yeah.
gonna be
enjoy playing with it.
absolutely wonderful to be able to mess with it and be able to control your camera right there on your screen with the little
While
slide
you're
and tap and
looking at
whatever.
it, while you're
Yep.
looking, I mean, you don't
Absolutely in
have
real
to,
time.
while you're composing the shot. I mean,
Right.
that's,
Mhm.
But I and again I hate to give credit to Gates and Ballmer, but I think they had a better organization back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s than they do now. I don't like the way they're operating. I don't like their marketing structure. I don't like the way I'm bombarded with ads.
no,
And it's about time that Microsoft gave up on the desktop version and charging, an ungodly amount for Office, anywhere between 350 to
$600,
$1,000
yeah, $700,
for
$800.
Microsoft Office, depending on what version you got.
Mhm.
Um, I think and Apple doesn't charge for their Office suite or their OS,
Nope.
right? Or all of their, ground level music making tools, video making tools. I mean, they all come and they're professional. Some of them are near professional quality. It's time for Microsoft to give up the ghost and let go of Windows.
Really.
Mhm.
Make it free. Make it free.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it that, I go ahead and I try to muck around with an install or a configuration on the computer. I want to dual, triple, or whatever boot the thing and have a number of different OS installs on a single drive. And it's so difficult to do that now with the way that they've got all the bootloaders working. It used to be so easy. All right. You installed one, then you installed a version of Linux, and that bootloader took over everything, and you could flip through with whatever you wanted, and bada bing, you know.
Yep.
And if you did it right, you could put on your Mac, you could have a version of Linux, and you could have a version of Mac OS
Windows.
or OS 10 or Linux or whatever you want. You could have all three on a single computer, and it was a
Mhm.
beautiful thing. You could have
Yeah.
more than one distribution of Linux on there, so you've got
Yep.
4 or 5 different. Not anymore. the way that they've got the bootloaders, it's an absolute pain in the butt. Microsoft, give it up. All right. I'd love to see Windows be, absolutely free. But that's just me.
Yeah.
That's just
Free Willy.
they're not gonna free him. They
No,
won't.
They won't.
They won't, but
Not
they're gonna milk
entirely.
it. They're
At
gonna
least all
milk
the
that cow
stupid-
until it's dry.
At least all the stupid stuff in there. I mean, it might change its kernel, but it
Doubtful.
may. They're still going to have
Anyway.
a whole bunch of stuff on top of it that's going to allow Windows software to run on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us forward. We are not going to have a tip of the week this week. I couldn't find one that I liked. So we're not going to have a tip of the week this week. We'll pick it up next time. I do, however, have a pick of the week. And this one was a lot of fun for me this week. I found and have been playing with a number of different AI related apps on my phone. I follow a couple of guys, where there's a guy, I think his name is Seth. He plays the drums. All right. And he says, asking AI to write a country song about blah. All right. Or a heavy metal song about blah. I'm not sure which AI he is using, but some of the funniest things in the world come out of this AI. And I thought, well, geez, it might be fun to try that. Let's see, what it can pull together. And I found an interesting app on my iPhone in the iOS App Store called AI Song Generator Music Beat. And I've got a link to the iOS based app in the show notes. The app itself is free to download. However, if you want to do anything with it, it's either going to cost you $8 a week or $50 a year. Now you get on the yearly plan. I noticed it because I studied it a little bit more than I did the weekly plan. You get 20 song generations every month. All right. And you can buy additional songs if you like, and they don't expire. All right. So you can bank songs month over month over month, and you've got a whole triple album if you want. But I went ahead and I tried this and I said, hey, write a country song. All right. About a family reunion. And it came up with the following. And I'm going to try to share this through the audio here. So hopefully everybody can hear it. And this is it came up with a complete song, and it's really not bad.
She walked in wearing grandpa's old blue jeans, her eyes like summer skies, a sight worth the rings. He stood tall with a grin so wide at the family reunion where their hearts collide. In the kitchen, smell of apple pie, and Sue's playing matchmaker, don't even try. Uncle Joe's telling tales old as time.
I wanted to let it get to the chorus.
But across the room, she saw and felt that chime. At the family reunion where kin comes to stay, love can find its way amongst the hate. 'Cause as dancing laughter echoes out in the arms of love, there's no room for doubt. She joined him by the barn.
So interestingly enough, I mean, that it came up with the lyrics on its own. It came up with the melody and all of the instrumental or instrumentation on its own, including the guitar solo and the drum lines.
And the
All right.
AI generated voice.
It did it all on its own. And I am really just amazed at at what it did. I just
Yeah, I am too.
wow. All right. The fact that it did all of that, like I said, on its own without any kind of prompting other than write a song, write a country song, uh,
About a family reunion.
about a
right
family
there.
reunion, and they came up with people falling in love at a family reunion, right?
Do me a favor, text me that clip, would you? I want the clip.
Sure.
I want to play it for Brenda.
You could even have it write a theme song for the show.
There you go.
And it'll do things with vocals. I had it write a duet. The first one I asked it to do is a Southern rock kind of feel. The second one I asked, same subject, about a family reunion, but as a country duet, and it came up with the same kind of thing, but as a true country duet with a male voice and a female voice, completely different melody, completely different instrumentation, etc. So there, it's absolutely, I thought it was absolutely amazing. And honestly, I truly believe that the first one that it came up with is actually, I think it's a closet sort of, who was that? Who was it that did The Streak back in the 70s? It was the song called The Streak.
Remember
Ray
the song.
Stevens. Ray
Ray
Stevens.
Stevens.
Right.
Yeah.
It is a Ray Stevens classic. All right. Thing. Love at a family reunion. No room for doubt. How? Just amazing thing. Absolutely amazing. So, like I said, that link is in the show notes. You can find it there. It's called AI Song Generator Music Beat, and it's available on your iPhone or your iPad. Absolutely hilarious stuff.
You just cost me $8.
So, but that
This segment
kids,
cost me so much money.
I know. But that kids is the show for this week. This has been the iTech Gear Weekly, episode number 106, Google Drive or Else, recorded live Sunday, September 15th, 2024, live from iTech Gear Central. For our missing Mr. Chris Gavula, brother Joe McLaughlin, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin, I want to say, hey, we will see you next time.